We're talking about emergency measures to respond to what's happening in Texas, and we will nullify what happens in Texas. We will pick up 5 seats with the consent of the people, and that's the difference between the approach we're taking and the approach they're taking.
Welcome back. That was, of course, California Governor Gavin Newsom on the latest redistricting fight with Texas and really coast to coast these days. So here's a live look at the Texas State Capitol in Austin, where lawmakers were yet again unable to achieve a quorum today, as some state Democrats remain in other parts of the nation amid the ongoing redistricting fight. The state's Attorney General Ken Paxton now asking the Texas Supreme Court to oust 13 Democratic state representatives from office. This gerrymander melee has prompted backlash from blue states like California, as you heard there from Governor Newsom, Illinois and New York, as well as counter attacks from red states like Florida, Ohio, and Indiana. So joining us now to help make sense of all this, former Congressman from Pennsylvania, Connor Lamb. Congressman, your governor, Josh Shapiro, was asked just yesterday whether Democratic leaders in the Keystone State would pursue similar redistricting efforts as those we heard Governor Newsom talking about. Here's what he said.
We're not doing that here in Pennsylvania, John.
So that's not on the table here?
It's not on the table here in Pennsylvania.
What's your reaction to that? Do you agree with your governor? What's your read?
Well, here in Pennsylvania, we had our congressional district lines drawn by our state Supreme Court the last 2 times, I think. And they're pretty fair, to be honest. We're close to being a 50-50 state. And since we've had those lines, we've had close to a 50-50 congressional delegation, swinging a little bit one way or the other as the state goes. So I think the governor's right. We have fair lines here. Your viewers should also know he doesn't control the state legislature the way that Greg Abbott does his. There's a Republican majority in the Pennsylvania Senate here. So it's just really not at all a similar scenario here. And I think Governor Shapiro tends to focus on things that can actually help people in the here and now, which is a good thing.
Okay, Texas Senator John Cornyn confirmed yesterday that the FBI has approved his request to locate those Texas Democrats. Could we see federal involvement in this matter? Do you see this as a widening gyre situation? Do you think the feds are getting involved? How's this going to end up?
I mean, it's just awful that they're trying to drag the FBI into this. The FBI has real problems to deal with. I used to be a federal prosecutor. I don't know if your viewers know that, but I worked very closely with the FBI. They are responsible for a very broad range of crimes, around the clock, counter-espionage, international stuff. These Texas Democrats have not committed any crimes, certainly not any federal crimes. And so it's ridiculous, frankly, for Trump and Kash Patel to inject politics into this by bringing the FBI in. And it's just one of those things that law enforcement shouldn't be about politics. So I wish Cornyn and the rest of them would step out.
But we could, and I don't want to catastrophize the future here, but we could be looking at a standoff between Democratic governors and federal agents, right? We could have a situation where people are providing safe harbor in Illinois or California or Massachusetts, and if this continues to escalate. Is it possible to bring down the temperature if the administration keeps upping the ante, and, to be fair, that the Democratic base keeps demanding its party counterpunch and counterpunch and counterpunch?
It will be difficult because obviously Donald Trump started this and he's not known for ever bringing down the temperature. So I don't know how you're going to bring down the temperature if he's the one that started with the explicit demand in Texas that they pick up 5 seats. He's sending J.D. Vance to these other states, again, to demand that they pick up seats for the Republicans. And he's sicking the FBI on people. So who's the one that's going to bring down the temperature if it's not him? I'm not aware of any Democratic governors that have said anything about resisting the FBI. I think, that sort of quote unquote resistance would happen in court, where judges would sanction them for going after people that haven't committed any crimes. And frankly, I think the FBI leadership is going to be wise and mature enough to realize they don't want to be in that situation.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that before I let you go. Every day there's new news out of the Department of Justice. You as you said, used to be part of that department. There's new political pressure. There's new every single day. How does this affect morale? We hear conflicting reports, but how does this affect morale, everything that's going on with so much politicization inside the agency?
Morale is horrible at the FBI, and it has been for months. That's not to say, there weren't morale issues under President Biden too. I think there's multiple issues going on at the same time, but Trump and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, they keep using these FBI agents for things that they're not there to do, like sending them to pull security on immigration raids.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.